Thank you for joining us this evening for our community forum. My name is George Ioannidis. I'm the superintendent of schools of the Spring Grove Area School District. And on behalf of everyone involved in bringing this program together, I thank you for sharing your time this evening to hear about the project and to walk through these hallowed halls of our former middle school and to have an opportunity to ask any questions. We'll intersperse. We have a brief video to begin. We have a few PowerPoint slides to share information with you, and then we'll also do some introductions as each of our speakers comes up. First, I just wanted to share a little bit of the logistics for the program this evening. We will do the presentation. We'll ask for you to hold your questions to the end. We may very well answer some of them as we go along. But we'll have a microphone and you'll be able to answer your questions. We ask that you use the microphone as we will be recording the session so that we can provide opportunity for others to view it as well. We will conclude the program as efficiently as we can. That way you have an opportunity to walk through the halls and check out the building in its current form, and try to wrap up shortly after 7:30 so that we can put the building back together for its use by our programs tomorrow. For some of you, this is a return home, either as staff members or as students. For the students here in the crowd, if you have any unserved attention, you'll see our former principals to make sure that we take care of those before you finish the night. We thank you for being here this evening, and I do want to take an opportunity to acknowledge a few guests beyond our respective boards, and we will do that as each of us comes up. But to begin the program, what I would like to do is welcome our Representative Seth Grove, who is with us today. Thank you, Seth, for being with us. We also have County Commissioner Mr. Doug Hoke is with us. Thank you for joining us today. And County Administrator Mr. Mark Durr. Mark, thank you for joining us. And since I have the microphone, I don't know all of our school board members, but I would like to ask if the Spring Grove Area School District school board members who are in attendance can please stand to be recognized. With us this evening. I also would like to take a moment to recognize, while not in attendance, instrumental, along with Representative Grove, in helping us secure the state funding. Senator Kristen Phillips Hill, unable to join us today, but very much a part of this effort. And together with Representative Grove, we thank both of them for their part in making this, getting us to this stage of the process. With that, I will finish my remarks right now. We'll get the video started. We have a brief video to introduce the project, and then we'll return back to our speakers.
It will benefit the whole community, all ages, which is really important. And we're very hopeful that we'll get support from everyone in the community, and they know that this is a place that they can come for various activities.
I think this is a great opportunity for the community to come together. You've got multi-generational opportunities here for everyone in the community.
Because we've been so alone for so long that we struggle every year to get the funds that we need. We're going to need something like this to bring these people together, to give them the recreational opportunities that they don't have.
It just has plenty of different directions it can go.
Spring Grove Regional Parks and Recreation Center is a nonprofit intergovernmental organization committed to enhancing the quality of life for citizens of all ages and abilities by providing wholesome, affordable recreational activities and services that encourage lifelong learning, fitness, and fun.
The mission of Windy Hill on the campus is to create a community of people dedicated to learning, growth, mutual support, and social interaction.
It is the mission of the YMCA of York and York County to put Christian principles into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. We exist to develop and practice the principles of faith, hope, love, honesty, respect, and responsibility.
The goal of Roths Church Road Community Partnership Project is to establish a multi-generational community hub that houses various community organizations to address recreational, health, wellness, and childcare, to create a centralized, vibrant, robust community asset that will serve a wide range of people with depth and breadth of programs.
As we make the transition to our panel, I will introduce the persons who will be presenting to you this evening in reverse order of appearance. First is representing the Y of the Roses, Mr. Larry Richardson. Then Kate King of the Spring Grove Regional Parks and Recreation Commission, and Tammy Miller from Windy Hill on the campus. And I'll turn it over to Tammy.
Thank you, Dr. Ioannidis. And thank you all for coming out this evening. We have a really good turnout. We're happy to see that. I do want to just give a shout out to our ABJ class headed by Mr. Richards. The students and along with Mr. Richards helped to, well, they produced the video that you just saw. So already we have some collaboration going on. But I first want to just give you a little bit of information about how we got to where we are today. Obviously, many of you know that this was the former Spring Grove Middle School building and housed 7th and 8th grade, starting back in the early 70s. And then through about 2011-12, the students moved over to the former high school building on Hanover Road. So Windy Hill on the campus, Windy Hill Senior Center at that time, was located in the old Spring Grove Community Center building, which at 50 Northeast Street, which has now been renovated into an apartment building, and they just had their ribbon cutting a few weeks ago. But we moved into that space in 2001, and around 2012, we noticed, our program was growing, but basically we had one 3,600 square foot space that we were trying to cram all of our programs. And so we started looking around the community to see if there was another suitable location for us. And this building just happened to be sitting here. Basically empty except for the school maintenance department and the technology department. So we started working with the school board, and in 2013, they allowed us to move into this space, and we have about 16,000 square feet now. And Windy Hill has really thrived in this location. We have a lot of it opened the door for a lot of intergenerational programs, which have been hugely successful. So it was a great thing for us. So about 2017, Dr. Renault was actually superintendent at that time, and he and I met, and we were talking about, okay, what's the future going to look like? The building we know needs some renovation, some serious renovation. What do we want to do with this space? So we decided at that time that this would make a great community hub. It's all one level. We saw the collaboration that was happening between the school district and Windy Hill at that time. Very positive. Students could come down into our space. Pre-COVID, we had students here in our space a few times a week. And we said, okay, well, let's take a look. The building still has a lot of integrity. We do need to address some maintenance issues, but what might this look like? So fast forward, we pulled in the YMCA of the Roses into our discussions along with Spring Grove Parks and Rec. And they actually relocated here in November of 2021. I knew it wasn't this past year. So 2021 Parks and Rec came, and you know, we just started trying to figure out, well, where could we get the money? And we talked to our, we had several community meetings with our state representatives, and you know, started working through the process that way. So basically, our ultimate goal is to make this community a community hub with multi-generational activities and programs and resources. People could be using different facilities here at, you know, Monday or Sunday through Saturday. It will be a one-stop shop for all types of activities, whether it's after-school activities, after-school childcare, Windy Hill on the campus activities for our older adults. And we also saw it, the more we kind of dug into the project, we really saw it as a very unique, replicable collaboration. And we worked with several different organizations that when we would talk to them about this project, they were like, wow, this is really cool. This is a very unique collaboration of a school district and other nonprofits in the community. So basically that's our vision. That's what we're, you know, working towards. Like I said, we've been working on this since 2017, and you know, we're happy to have you here tonight to be able to, you know, educate you on the project, and hopefully you will go out into the community and help us to educate other community members of the project. So now I'm going to turn it over to Kate King, who's going to talk about Parks and Rec.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is a great turnout. Thank you all for being here and taking the time to learn a little bit about this project. So I'm going to give you a little background on Spring Grove Parks and Rec Center. So if you don't know, we are a regional group. So what that means is basically instead of all the municipalities having their own rec department, they have one, and we share those services. So we're their rec department. So to give you a little background, as Tammy said, 50 North East Street was our former location. It was bought by the Spring Grove Borough in 1999. It was a former school district building, so many of you may have been in there before. In 2004, the Regional Rec Commission was formed with Paradise Township and Spring Grove Borough. And then in 2009, Jackson Township joined our group, and we renamed Spring Grove Regional Parks and Recreation Center at that time. So about a year and a half ago, we relocated here at this 1472 Ross Church Road with Windy Hills. So Windy Hills on this side of the building, we're on the other side, so when you get to take a tour, you'll get to see our area. We occupy about 12,000 square feet currently. We utilize the gym, and we have childcare, which you'll see when you take your tour. We currently serve about 14,413 residents within our regional group, but we do serve the entire school district and beyond, but those are our regional partners, and that's kind of the number of residents we serve between the three. We are one of two regional rec groups in York County. There's only one other one, and it's just recently formed, so ours has been around for quite a number of years, which is pretty good for a regional group here in the state of Pennsylvania. We've received 1.3 million. It's actually 1.7 million now, so I'm happy to say we received some more grant funding recently. So 1.7 million in grant funding, not only for our local parks, but also the center itself. So you may have seen a lot of our local projects and programs going on recently. Little Creek Golf Course, many people have noticed that because it's so visible. We just finished up phase 2 down there. Spring Grove has a community park back behind the fire company, and then Paradise Township is right behind the elementary school. And we actually have a neighborhood park as well, which many people don't know about, in Jackson Heights, which is Stone Ledge Park. Some of the programs that we do, some of the services, we have childcare starting at 2 years of age up to 12 years of age. We have summer camp, we have special events, egg hunts, food truck events, races, you name it, community classes. We have nature classes, Earth Day classes, astronomy classes, cooking classes. We've done a variety of things throughout the years. We have fitness classes. Currently we have pound and we have kickboxing. We have senior activities. We offer pickleball, basketball, volleyball, and we're starting cornhole in May. So down at Little Creek, so if you're interested in that, we're going to be starting that. I do want to recognize my staff. All of my staff are here tonight, so I'm happy to have them along with my board members. So if you could just stand up. And be recognized. Come on, stand up. I don't have a huge staff, but for Parks and Rec, that's big. But I couldn't do this without them. So I appreciate them all being here tonight. And please, when you get the opportunity, go ahead and take a tour. Our board's goal through all of this is to continue to provide recreational services for our community. And we feel like this is the way to sustain that. A partnership with the YMCA, with Windy Hill, with the school district. We feel this is an asset and a benefit for the community. We'll continue to have Parks and Recreation, continue to have our regional partnerships sustained through all of this, and continue with our goal of recreational services to all of you. So thank you.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Windy Hill and the campus and what we do here every day. But first, I do want to recognize my board members. If you're a Windy Hill board member, if you could please stand up. And also my two assistants, Jenna and Tracy. Stand up. Okay, so I mentioned Windy Hill and the campus has really thrived in this location and on the school campus. And we are excited to be able to share this facility and also to collaborate with some of these other partners. We just think that sharing those resources will be a great asset for all of the nonprofits who will be residing here. So basically, we currently occupy about 16,000 square feet in this front part of the building. And we moved in here, like I mentioned, in 2013. And we have really grown. I remember we were serving about 40 a day when we were over in the 50 Northeast Street location. And now it's not unusual for us to have over 150 people come through our door on a daily basis. But basically we're open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 2:30, and we provide a wide range of activities for older adults age 60 and plus. Now these adults are still independent. They drive, most of them drive here. We have about 1,400 members on our membership roll right now. We see about anywhere from 800 to 1,100 every year, unduplicated. And just this past fiscal year, we have a nutrition program, and we provided over 49,000 hot meals to our older adults, 60 and over, in the Spring Grove, surrounding communities, and also we are the Senior Center for Hanover as well. We also do our home delivered meal program here out of this facility, and last year we delivered over 24,000 meals. We also operated completely during COVID. We transitioned to a takeout meal program during that time. We served about 30,000 takeout meals during that time when we were closed because of COVID. We also gave out about 300 emergency meals to the community during that time when we were closed for COVID. Some of the other activities that we do, we have a fitness component, and we have all types of activities: yoga, silver sneakers, Tai Chi, yoga, chair yoga. We provide all of these activities for little to no cost. And if they have a silver sneakers membership, then basically those fitness activities are at no charge. The meal is also a meal that we provide through our contract with the York County Area Agency on Aging, and that meal is also provided for basically a donation. Another part of our mission is to provide those lifelong learning opportunities. We do iPad training class where we buddy up a high school student. They come down here, they sit, we have a curriculum, we have a facilitator for that program, and then they buddy them up with a high school student, and they provide technology training for them. We also do dancing. You'll see this floor right here, it's called a Marley floor. We do that so our tap dancers don't chew up the floor with their tap shoes. But they want their tap shoes, they're very serious about it, and we wanted them to perform tonight, but they're a little bashful. We also do line dancing here and also ballroom dancing as well. And we have various performing and visual arts programs for them, and we have done those in an intergenerational setting as well.
We do also facilitate some social services. We have representatives from Seth Grove's office and also Kate Klunk's office that come down and help our members fill out their property tax rebate forms or PACE and PACE-Net applications, whatever those types of services. We also have the PA Medi, which used to be called Apprise, and they're counselors that come in and will meet with our members when they get to the point where they're going to sign on to Medicare. So we provide office space for those programs as well. And right now, we're facilitating the AARP income tax program to provide free income tax preparation for older adults, 55 and older. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what happens here every day. And I guess, George, we have Dr. Agnes to talk about school district.
Thank you, Tammy. I did get a little nervous when you started pointing at me as a tap dancing. For the school district, I just wanted to share just a few words. As you can see, the current mission statement calls for us to provide a safe and engaging learning environment for our students so that they can work towards to attain their full potential and be prepared for their life in the future. But the key component is that partnership between the school district, our families, businesses, and the community. And we can think of no better way than this type of a project to help develop and to provide those partnership opportunities with local organizations. And for us, it's critical. We know that there is a need to provide services for our youngest residents. We know that the Parks and Recreation Commission provides those child care opportunities for our working families to help in the children's development, but also to support those who are working during the day. And we welcome that opportunity to collaborate with the staff and to offer those services. We also see the entire continuum where we partner with the members and the staff of Windy Hill to again provide opportunities for our students to engage with the Windy Hill members to get an appreciation for our senior citizens and for our senior citizens to continue to be connected with the school district. And it's all about providing all of those opportunities in an efficient and effective manner so that we're respectful of both the assets that have been entrusted to the school district as well as to the needs and the demands of the community. We serve well over 4,500 students, 3,900 of which are in our own buildings. We have with part-time, full-time, and extracurricular staff on the order of 600 staff that we service. We cover just under 100 square miles. We have 6 buildings, 6 schoolhouses, multiple buildings, a couple of hundred acres that we care for, and we are very proud of the accomplishments of our students under the guidance of our staff with the support of their families at home. And we're thrilled that we have this opportunity to engage with Parks and Recreation Commission, with Windy Hill, to offer support at both ends of the spectrum. And we're equally thrilled to have invited and to have the partnership, potential partnership with the YMCA of the Roses that will allow us to be able to fully develop and to take advantage of this opportunity to repurpose this building and convert an asset that has provided its useful life to the community, to give it a new purpose and a new opportunity to serve our students and our families. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Larry Richardson.
Thank you, George. And I don't have anybody to introduce because all my board members are at a meeting right now, and I had to leave from Columbia and come here tonight. So many of you may be familiar with the YMCA, the Roses. So just a little history on that. On November 30th of 2021, the YMCAs of York and Lancaster merged to become the YMCA of the Roses. So we have the YMCAs in Lancaster County, and then the YMCAs that were part of York and York County, Dover, York, Shrewsbury, the Grand Aquatic Center, and Camp Spirit. Just a little bit about our history. We've been in this community for 165 years. When we merged with Lancaster, we became the younger brother. They've been around for 166 years. So it's been a good partnership for us so far. So when you hear the YMCA of the Roses, that's the reference of the Lancaster and York communities coming together, which has been our most recent history. Really the thing that we've been focused on the last couple of years, in addition to the planning and work that we've been doing with the partners that have been part of the panel here tonight and talking about this project. We've been spending a lot of time on the merger of two historical YMCAs in South Central Pennsylvania. Some other things that we've done most recently in our history, we've just opened $1 million tech center in an old bank building down in York on the York County, the YMCA of York's campus. That is a former bank. Generally, the purpose of that is, it was kind of bad timing when we were going through the process. It was during COVID, but we're really is to work on workforce development around STEM and technology, really addressing people who live in New York City, 18 to 30-year-olds, to train them in technology backgrounds, technology skills, so that they're then job ready to go right out into the manufacturing community. So we are the conduit between the training at the tech center and the manufacturers to get people well-paying jobs, is kind of what it is. And we also have a very strong emphasis on STEM for youth programs at the same time in the tech center. As part of that process, again, and this, which a lot of people refer to as the historical York YMCA, it's been on North Newbury Street since the 1920s. We just built and purposed an urban park that sat behind that to create more green space. So the rec and parks theme really fits in with what we've been trying to attempt to do, even in urban environments most recently. Again, some of the most recent things that we've been up to. We also have connected new immigrants in our community. We're one of only 19 centers in the United States. It's called a New American Welcome Center. We work with newcomers in our communities, work through the local PERC office, which is the Pennsylvania Immigration Resource Center, to help newcomers get working papers, work towards naturalization, find social programs that are needed, find child care, or whatever else they might need through the social service continuum of care in our communities. Most recently, for instance, the New American Welcome Center, in just the last 3 weeks, we've worked with 32 different families from Haiti, so Haitian families that have come here to work in various manufacturing or agricultural communities, enrolling them in school, finding ways to get them through the naturalization process. And so those are some of the things that we've been working on. We actually helped to resettle 3 Afghan families in Lancaster County through our Welcome Center and with the refugee resettlement program there. So the Welcome Center kind of works on some of those things. We are an organization that assures that everybody can participate in programs and services, like most YMCAs in the region or even in our country. We assure that everybody can participate no matter what their economic conditions will be. So we provide financial assistance for everyone who may not be able to afford membership, child care, day camp, swim lessons, whatever it might be. So we've done that in last year, over 3,500 people, and that was low for us as we're coming back out of COVID. And we have a large preschool program, both in York, and that's another thing that makes a nice partnership here with Rex and Parks and their Early Learning Center. They're doing a great job with that here. The partnership that we have with our school-age child care programs and a number of 7 different school districts in York County and in Lancaster, and also a pre-K counts program in Lancaster. So preparing kids in the school district partnership, that makes a lot of sense for us too. Not just from a history perspective and what we've done in the past, but also as we look forward to this new program and collaboration. So.
Back to me. So when we were talking about this project, we had to figure out where do we start. There's so much that goes into this, and in order to apply for grant funding and people to support this, we needed to do some kind of study. So we had what is called a peer-to-peer study done through the Community Partnership Program, Keystone Recreation Park and Conservation Fund through DCNR, which is the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. And it was conducted by CTY Consulting Group. The goal of this study was to determine the feasibility of filling a new facility with synergistic organizations that serve the community in a financially stable model. So for this study, we did a survey. We surveyed stakeholders, business leaders, community members, government officials, employees, a wide variety of different people that were engaged in the community and got their feedback. What did they want to see from a project like this? You know, what were their biggest goals or their biggest needs in our community? And basically it came back, some of the top things were fitness, senior programming, meals for seniors, parks and recreation programming, and community education, which are things that we're all doing. Wendy Hill, myself, the YMCA, and the school district are all doing now, but we want to build on that. That's what people wanted to see, and we feel like this project can do that. Our consultant had a great quote, and we like to share this. She said, "To be honest, I would love to live in your community. The opportunity is one of a kind across the state of Pennsylvania and could be a model nationally." The report was well done and was an opportunity for us to then pursue some funding for this project. It's a unique project. It could bring our community together, and it's a way of supporting each other as nonprofits, as a school district, and how we work together. We really feel like this is something that could set us up differently from everybody else. A lot of times you don't see Ys and Park and Rec departments, not that I even know of any, that really work together. You know, they're always separate. So for us, this is an opportunity to show that that can work. We can come together, we can share services, and we can benefit this community on a broader scale than what we're doing now. And then to elaborate a little bit, there's a lot of opportunity for collaborating, for providing different services. Spring Grove Parks and Rec and Windy Hill are kind of already doing that now. It's just natural being in the same building together. We are collaborating on fundraising. We have a food truck event coming up, like I mentioned. A lot of intergenerational activities. We were able to take our kids down at Christmas time and sing for the seniors. We were able to have the Easter Bunny visit. Some of you, I know, see some of the seniors here, and I'm sure they enjoyed that, getting their eggs with their meals last year. And just health and fitness wise, we're able to partner with that. And of course the YMCA brings more of that opportunity. We can share human resources. We can have preschool programs, intergenerational with our seniors. We'd like to get started again. Live entertainment, having the school district right here. I know Tammy has done a lot of intergenerational iPad training where the kids have been able to come down and teach the seniors how to use their devices, and I know that has been a huge program. Another example is a Veterans Day program. You have the students come down and help with that and honor our vets. So the possibilities are endless when it comes to what collaboration of programs we could do, but we're already doing it. This is just an opportunity to expand that when we bring in the YMCA. And I'm going to turn it over to George. He's going to give you a little bit of a timeline of where we have been and where we're going with this project.
Thank you, Kate. I won't read every aspect of the slide, but the key parts beginning in December of 2020, we completed the study that Kate referred with the comments. We began to share information publicly through social media and other community communications. Very importantly, we made our, I believe that was the second application, right? Our second application for the RACP, the redevelopment funding at the state level. And at the same time, we started to speak to the York County Capital Campaign Review Board, knowing that, and as you'll hear and see in terms of the overall budget, that there will be some additional fundraising that will be required to make the project successful. So in parallel, we began those efforts as a team, as a partnership, and then fast forward to December of 2021, a year after the study was done, the governor's announcement of the RACP awards was made, really giving us the jumping point for us to continue these conversations. We've been meeting and discussing it at various points at our school board meetings. Prior to that, we had a number of meetings with our municipal partners at the school district in order to keep everybody apprised of our progress. And of course, today we're here for this town hall meeting to share more information with everyone. And if all goes well and we proceed with the actions of the board to convey the building in the next quarter to the YMCA to get the project started, and of course capital campaign and fundraising, and then of course begin a project sometime in the first quarter of next calendar year, begin with the work. We're very excited about the prospect, and again, we're thrilled to be here to share this information with you. And for the additional details, I'll turn it over to Larry.
So really going to probably go to the next slide first, but part of this project is a capital campaign to raise money in the community. This is a partnership not just with the 4 institutions here, but others in the community, but also a public-private partnership. So we've been very fortunate, as was mentioned earlier, for the partnership with Representative Seth Grove and also Senator Kristen Phillips Hill. You may have learned or saw in the news that after 2 attempts, and as George has just said, we received a $3.2 million RACP grant from the governor's designation because of the advocacy of Representative Grove and Senator Kristen Phillips Hill. That then has to be matched in the community in terms of a dollar for dollar. So that means we have to raise at least $3.2 million to be able to access that $3.2 million. The project itself, when we sent the application into, and we've done our research in the beginning of this program or project, we estimated the project to be around $8.4 million. So 3.2, you raise another 3, that doesn't add up to 8.4. We're hopeful for another million is the point, and we have 3.2 million, hopeful for another million. That gives us 4.2 million. The conveyance of the building can be used as match, so as we're working with the Spring Grove School District, and we're hopeful that we'll find favor there. That is 1.2 million based on the assessment of the property. So that means then the public fundraising component of that needs to be $3 million. As George alluded to, was on the timeline. We went to the Capital Campaign Review Board in York back in May of last year. I did have a meeting with some of those folks even as late as today, and we are on the schedule for the silent phase of the campaign to begin this fall, and the public part of the campaign to begin at the end of this year, going into next year. $3 million is a lot of money, no doubt. This is different type of project, and it's in a more condensed region, if you will, than some of the other projects we have done, honestly. But I've been at this now for 35 years. This will be the smallest capital campaign that we've run, and we've never been short on any capital campaign. We just, most recently in York, we raised $7 million on projects that we've done just in the last couple of years, and in 2006, 7, and 8, we raised $13 million as part of the Graham Aquatic Center and the Shrewsbury expansion. So included in the peer-to-peer study, and some of you may have seen that study, I know many of the board members in the room or staff may have seen that study, was a component of feasibility. In other words, we tested whether, and talking with many contributors in the community we thought would be sensitive to this project and would support this, to see if they would support it. And you take that data and extrapolate it and then project whether you're capable of raising $3 million in this case. And we are very confident that that feasibility said yes, so we're confident that we'll be able to raise that in the community. So you can see where some of the dollars are. The RACP is $4.2 million, $3 million from the capital campaign, $1.2 million from the conveyance of the building. The RACP is, again, we have $3.2 million in hand right now, so I want to make sure I'm clear on that, because there has been some things publicly said, including myself, where I referred to $4.2 million. We have $3.2 million that have been committed. And then you can see the expenditure side. A big amount of the money here, and Mark can talk about this is a 117,000 square foot building with a roof that needs to, if not all replaced, we think maybe not all has to be replaced now, but major parts of it. With, I think there's 42 rooftop units on it right now or something like that. So, you know, that's a lot of rooftop units that we need to pull off and put in centralized heating and cooling and systems. So roofing and systems are going to take up a big part of that. And we're also going to have to do some work in here with some of the roofing and other things. But this room is an example of why this project makes so much sense. To have a community meeting like this in a beautiful facility like this, it would be a shame if it's not preserved for the community in the long run. So we have to preserve some things in here with some roofing pieces, which again will be addressed with some of the systems. And then, of course, we need some contingencies just because we're not really sure. There's been a long time since this building has been worked on. We haven't really dug into the bones of the building in terms of from an architectural and the design, which will come, as you saw on the timeline, a little bit later, after the building's conveyed and after the funding starts coming in. So.
All right, so to kind of wrap everything up, obviously you've heard all of us talking. I mean, the number one thing is this is a huge benefit to our community. It's family intergenerational opportunities to unite families, combining parks and rec and senior programming. mental health resources, health and wellness, structured youth programs for after school, stability for all the organizations within this facility, and gives an opportunity for partnership and provide a positive place for people in our community to come to.
And some other advantages to this project: there will be multiple volunteer opportunities for students and adults. Will be able to facilitate cultural diversity and harmony between generations with various diversity programs, enhance education programs like after-school programs to enhance education, and also, as Larry mentioned, this beautiful auditorium to do some intergenerational performing arts programs. The other thing I do want to mention too, we talked about the RACP. That process is not an easy process to go through. Seth's laughing. It is a long and arduous task to make application. As George mentioned, we did do that twice. We were turned down the first time, the second time it was approved. But to be able to get a community to get a RACP grant is not it's a very tall order. We are blessed that we were recognized, that this project was recognized as being a standout project, that the governor saw favor to provide this funding for this project. So we're really blessed that Spring Grove can bring this home and bring that money. If that money is not spent here, it is taxpayer money. I'm not going to lie about that. It comes from your pockets, my pockets. But if it is not spent here, it will be spent in another community for sure. So just want to mention that we're very blessed to be able to get that funding. The next thing, we just want to talk about ways to stay connected. We do have a website and a Facebook page, and we do have brochures. If you didn't pick one up, there's some out there. And we're going to open it up for questions. Before we open it up, I think Representative Grove, you wanted to make a few remarks.
Thank you all.
Oh, yes.
Check. Oh, there we go. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. You get dressed down, Seth Grove. If you hadn't noticed, our maps just got done, so we're actually circulating petitions. So if I am not going to hear the word, it is me asking for your signature. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. We get asked for money all the time for various projects, and I'm a stickler looking at the finance. There's some projects where I look over the finances within a few years, they're going to be in the red. It's not a good investment for taxpayers to move forward. A couple things: you have tremendous leaders. Every single leader here has been successful in their organization. Tammy has done a phenomenal job with Wendell, has grown it tremendously. I don't know who wouldn't be prouder of having the #1 senior center in the county. Kate's been through a lot with the community center, but constantly built, has constantly provided excellent services for the youth in this community. The YMCA has been around for 165 years. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Spring Grove School District obviously is not going anywhere anytime soon. So you have long-term partners to take a long-term look, not a fly-by-the-night opportunity for someone to come in and make money. Sustainability long-term. Obviously, we have to interject money into this place to bring it up to a standard where we can actually use it. But talk about an asset, to have this many people in a room like this, a gymnasium. I've been to a lot of community centers all across this state. I don't know of a single one that has all of these facilities being available to the public in any single place at any single time. I've seen some with a nice auditorium. I've seen some with the gym. I've never seen all of this at one time in one location. So really what tonight we're talking about is, where do we want to see this in the future? Where do we want to see our community in 5 years and 10 years from now? Because right now is the time to make a decision on what we want to do with this facility and how we want to have a lasting legacy on this entire Spring Grove region for our kids, for our grandkids into the future. I'm a parent. I know how hard it is to find daycare. Spring Grove has a huge need for daycare. And I love people going to work. I love work. And if parents have to sit at home with their kids because they can't find daycare, they're not working, they're not productive members of society, right? So having the Y here to fill that gap, because we have a gap in the Spring Grove area for childcare in this area, it's a huge asset to everyone. It's a huge asset to George and the school district. Obviously having those kids educated, prepared for high school, reduces their costs for remediation, everything else moving forward. So it's a huge enhancement. I'm really proud of the work they put into this. This, as you can tell, there's actually a little bit of a longer timeline with this. They've put the work and the effort to make this successful for everybody in Spring Grove. Not just the seniors, not just the kids, not just the adults. Every single demographic in Spring Grove community will benefit from this. So I applaud the work of our leaders here, all the staff, the boards who had the vision to come on board and move forward with this. And tonight, I look forward to the questions, the comments, and really sharing in that vision of what we want our community to be and what we want out of this facility moving forward. So thanks for having me tonight. Excellent job. I look forward to continuing this conversation, continuing to move forward with this project. Thank you.
All right, so if you have questions, you're going to see Stephanie Kennedy up here in the front. You can just come down if you want to make a line here, and we're happy to address and answer any questions that you might have. So, don't be shy.
Thank you. We'll one at a time. Will it cost the taxpayers any money? As Tammy said, a good portion of the funds is coming from the RACP program, which is coming out of the state budget, which is taxpayers' money. All of us share in it. What we believe is that this is the best way for us to claim our share for Spring Grove and bring it here. In terms of the remaining money that Larry mentioned, we will be doing the capital campaign. So there will be funds that will be solicited either from organizations or from individuals. At that point, individuals will have the opportunity and the choice to support the project with their finances. Lastly, and we've shared this information with at a number of board meetings, there is some outlay that the district will have to provide for its own portion of the building if we are part of the renovated building. But the way we're approaching it is that in two ways. One is that it's money that we would have spent somewhere else, meaning we have another office where our district office is that requires continued upgrade and maintenance there. We would rather put the money here rather than in that building and then abandon that building at some point in the future. So that's one part. The other part that we've taken into account is if we don't do something with this building, then we have to decide what to do with it long term. And every one of us has talked about it, and Seth mentioned it as well, that there's upkeep that's required here, and it's no longer being used for its original purpose, then we have to do something with it, either demolish a portion of it or all of it or a large part of it. And again, that'll cost money, but not give us anything tangible to use in the future. So we see this as the best way to take an asset that still has useful life, and wherever, if we were to spend money somewhere else in the district, we'd rather spend it here because we know that it'll be well used and preserved for a longer period of time. I know that's a long about answer, but that is how we've made the calculations to determine if this is the right step. As to who owns the building, technically part of the process is that the YMCA would own from the building inward. The rest of the property, of course, it's on school district property on our campus, and we still own and operate everything around it, but from the building inside will be owned and operated by the YMCA. As Larry mentioned and Seth also mentioned, the YMCA has great experience in projects like this. This is an expertise that they have. It's something that none of the other partners, the school district, Windy Hill, or Parks and Recreation have experience doing over a number of projects. So we believe that's where that partnership works well together, that we'll be able to take advantage of their expertise in starting the project, running it long term, and allowing us to be part of it so we can provide services to all of our constituents. Did I answer the question? Okay, great.
I just have more of a long-term question. When's going to be the update of the change to why we're doing this? Like in the gym, the lighting needs fixed. I mean, these are things that I'm hoping are in your plans. The fitness room here is not a YMCA type of fitness room. I mean, you plan to do those type of upgrades when this is all done?
Yes. Yes, sir. Thanks for that question. I think everybody heard that question, but it is to, we will have to do a little bit further architectural engineering study, like lights in the gym, as you mentioned. But we will be looking at all those upgrades where necessary. I will tell you right now, though, because you're referencing the gym, that gym floor in there is pretty sweet, right? I mean, there's not many like that around. Maple floors, and it's been kept well. But we will look at lighting and other things like that, and certainly upgrades in the rest of the facility as part of the overall design consideration. In terms of you mentioned wellness. Wellness is a core component of a YMCA. We have a specific focus also in chronic disease prevention. We also have a specific focus on youth development, youth sports, but we also recognize in the Spring Grove community there are already some really good youth sports here, so we also will partner with other groups in the communities like we've done, for instance, in Lancaster. In fact, one of the things Kate had mentioned, I don't know when that was, the ironic thing here is that we were looking to see how can a rec commission and a municipality and a school district and a YMCA come together in an agreement. And we knew of an agreement in Lampeter-Stroudsburg in Lancaster County where that exactly happened. So if you've ever been over to Lampeter-Stroudsburg School District, there's a YMCA that sits there. That was a collaborative agreement between the Recs and Parks Commission, the Lampeter-Stroudsburg School District, I think it's East Hempfield Township, I think that sounds right. East Lampeter. East Lampeter, yeah, so you're East Lampeter Township, and the YMCA. When we were first looking at that, we went over to see, well, what's that agreement look like and how did those four groups come together? And so that was part of the study process that we did. And so when you take a look at that from a wellness perspective or a healthy lifestyle perspective, chronic diseases, there'll be all the assets that we have in the YMCAs that we're running at other places if they're needed in this particular community. But all of that will be, we'll look at upgrading all those places, specific in the gym. There's two specific programs. I can't tell you exactly what that will be. We'll have to do some further work, but that's one of the reasons why we're partnering with Recs and Parks in that facet, because they're here in the community, they know what the needs of the community have been, they've been working with the community themselves, and we hope to be a really good listener in terms of what is needed here, and then how can we lend our shoulder to their shoulder to make sure that some of those programs are delivered in a facility that's going to last and be preserved.
A simple one, your YMCA usually set silver seekers.
Yes, they do. They do.
And I just wanted to make sure that the programs that the senior center has and the Parks and Rec here at the senior center, they will remain.
Can you repeat just the first part of that, please?
The programs that are already in place here at Windy Hill, being the senior center programs and the Parks and Rec, specifically in the gym. Will we get to keep those programs?
Yeah, I think you're referring, whatever programs Windy Hill is running will continue to run their programs. There will be some things that we are talking internally, for instance, Silver Sneakers. So if there's pickleball in the gym, and the YMCA is a membership-based organization. So you become a member of the YMCA, but you can also be part of the Windy Hill piece. But if you're coming in and you're playing pickleball, for instance, and you're swiping for Silver Sneakers, or you're taking a group exercise class, that may change just in terms of who the recipient is, because the YMCA is going to be the owner of the building. But the programs themselves are not going to change, and all of us in terms of partners are working internally, internally, and also with our boards to say, so we're not tripping on one another, we're actually leveraging where the strengths of everyone is. So the intention is here not to minimize programs, but actually to expand them.
So the YMCA is going to own it. Is this true?
Yes, that's the plan.
And
yeah.
we all have to join.
That's, well.
The YMCA, do we have to pay a monthly fee?
Yes.
So my next question is, Parks and Rec, we pay for our pickleball, whatever, for them. Do we still have to pay a monthly fee?
To Recs and Parks, you mean? You only will be paying one. We have to still, so the partnership with Recs and Parks is still being determined. Can I talk about it? So I'm meeting with their, I don't want to speak out of turn and put Kate or the Recs and Parks board in a bad spot, but I'm meeting with them tomorrow night as we continue to move forward with the partnership to make sure we understand where everybody is going to be in terms of the partnership and how we're going to address questions like you have. But you will not have to pay, for instance, a Recs and Parks fee and then a YMCA fee.
So we do have to pay a YMCA monthly fee?
Yes, so YMCA is a membership-based organization, but if you're a Silver Sneaker, or if you're an Active and Fit, or if you have Aetna, those types of things, those are fees that you would pay for your membership. If not, then yes, there are membership fees because we're a membership-based organization. And beginning whatever day the building is conveyed to the YMCA will be responsible for personnel costs, occupancy costs, lights, heat, electricity, all the other things. So that becomes part of that process. Yes.
So are you saying that all of the seniors that come here every day, they have to join the YMCA, they have to pay a monthly bill?
No, not if you're coming to Windy Hill. Not if you're coming to participating at Windy Hill. No, Windy Hill will be in its pretty much the same square footage that it's in now, running in similar to the same programs. Where there's crossover, I know you have a small fitness facility here. Where some of that crossover, that stuff may come to the YMCA, but not the general programming that Windy Hill's doing in their square footage. That will remain. It's still part of Windy Hill. I'm sorry.
So that's all the seniors will be okay. Have to pay the monthly.
Not to come to Windy Hill. No, not to come to Windy Hill. No.
And Kate, can you explain about the pickleball?
Yeah. So kind of elaborating on Larry's comment. So Parks and Rec and obviously the YMCA have a lot of nuts and bolts to work out, as we would call it. But again, for some of those my program instructors that I see that are here, those are things that we'll work out with the Y. Again, we're a regional partner group, so we have some of my regional partners are here tonight. We're going to look at that. They financially contribute to Parks and Rec. So what does that look like? Is there a separate membership fee for those in those municipalities because they are paying those fees in? So those are things that we will look at as an intergovernmental group. So there'll be a fee structure. Yes, like I had told everyone, the Y is a membership-based organization. So there will be a membership. There's going to be several options of memberships. And again, they have a lot of opportunities if you're unable to financially pay for this. So there'll be plenty of options. We're not going to end a program or take the prices up, quadruple those. We're going to try to keep it where we have it now, but you will have to become a member for some of the programs that we will now offer once we merge with the YMCA. So again, more to come on that, but we're taking into consideration what you have now and what they have in place and how do we make that work together. So for everybody, we have our child care programs. That's a good question for parents. We're already paying. Are our rates going to go, up? Are they going to double? Not necessarily. That's what we need to look at. Are you in the regional partnership? Are you not? Can we sustain those fees and still have a membership with the YMCA? So we will work together on that and make it the best we can for everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First of all, I'm hoping that Representative Joe inadvertently suggested that people who have to stay home to work are not really people who are not contributing to society. I'm sure that was inadvertent. My question actually is a little bit long term. I'm here basically because I come over here to pickleball from East Berlin. And having served in borough government in East Berlin and aware of a number of people in our version of Parks and Recreation, I'm wondering, is this the kind of thing where you're thinking of expanding to more partners? it might be something to think about. Because if most of you have been in a governmental meeting, much gets said and little gets done. But we would really like, that's the kind of thing that many of us who have served in these offices in East Berlin would really like to see happen, because we can't do it ourselves.
So are you asking in terms of the regional collaboration in the Rex and Parks?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna step out and let Ken step in.
Yes, there's definitely opportunity, to grow that regional partnership, and that's what we want to do. We want to sustain that, and our regional partners, I think, want that too. From our conversations that we've had, we would love to grow that. So yes, there's always an opportunity there to gain. I know Heidelberg, we spoke to them. North Cadorus, we've talked to. I am familiar with East Berlin and your kind of setup of Parks and Rec as well. But yes, we're definitely open to that and would love to see that grow. And again, this is something new, that there isn't really a model to follow. So we're kind of figuring out as we go, how does that work, bringing in additional regional partnerships. But I think we can offer those regional partners, those residents within those regional partners, discounted rates on the Y services, and that would kind of be our goal. So yes, please, sign up for more information. We would love to talk further with you, myself and the Y.
Thank you.
I don't even know what that's like. One thing that the first question did bring up is cost of taxpayer. So right now, the liability is on the Spring Grove School District for the maintenance and facilities. If anything happens in this building, taxpayers in the Spring Grove School District are on the hook. That is your tax money going into all of this infrastructure. When YMCA comes in, that liability is shifted to the Y. Taxpayers are off the hook when we're paying for this institution outside of any rent, etc., paid to the Y. This place will be open for basically Windy Hill will have their operations. There's no fee. They will be paying rent to the Y. Any business or any that comes in here, because they're not going to use all the square footage, so there's tons of opportunity, business opportunity, nonprofits to come in here, they will be paying rent, which is another long-term sustainability in this place. And in that will sustain itself through those rental properties over time. So I think it's critically important to understand that liability. Roof keep paid in, taxpayers on the hook, right? That's a huge expenditure to fix. With the upgraded money, we can fix those structural issues and remove that liability off taxpayers. Those costs will not be embedded by taxpayers anymore. So it is good for the asset to be given to a non-governmental entity and get that liability off the taxpayers' backs. Two, provide sustainability for the building by having it as a commercial rental property. Again, that's not the job of the school district to collect rent and operate a business. So that's why this is one of those good long-term financial investments that make sense for the state to come in and put those dollars in.
Yeah, one of the questions I had is, when is your renovation period going to end, and where are the tenants going to go during the renovation? And secondly, I'm not getting your explanation on this donated assets of the building and how that's going to turn into $1.2 million to be spent on the project. I'm sorry, I just not getting that.
I probably didn't do a good enough job of explaining it. So it's a good question. So the $1.2 million from the conveyance of the building is based on the assessment that the school district had for the building, and it's a non-cash item. So it won't be $1.2 million in cash coming to the project that the project's able to spend. That will not be spent. Because it can be used, it's only used on the revenue side because it's used as an asset to match the $4.2 million that the state's giving you. So whatever you get the money from the state.
You also have it on the expenditure side that you're going to spend it. Are you taking a loan out on the building?
No, we will not have it, no. There will be no loans on this building. No, we're not spending I don't know if we have that slide. I'm not sure. Let's pull it up so we make sure we're clear.
And so currently, while you're pulling that up,
Yes.
So currently, the tenants that are in the building now, the rents they pay are not covering the $100,000 annual maintenance and utility costs. So how many more tenants will you need to cover that cost in the future once your renovations are done?
So when we do the renovations, let's just take Windy Hill because they're an easy example, and they're in 17,000 square feet or something like that. Windy Hill, when we get the new systems put in, Windy Hill will have its separate metered heat and electricity and separate system. So their utilities will be on Windy Hill. They also will pay, and everybody will pay, including the YMCA, a common area maintenance. Will be a common area. Some of the entrances will be common areas. We'll all pay into that. It's a nominal fee, but that will be paid in so that everybody shares in that piece. And the rents that they're going to pay are going to be relatively, are far below what a market rate rent would be. I mean, I'd hate to say in public, well, the peer-to-peer study is out there. We use that as a foundation. Those rents were somewhere, and they could be $1.50 a square foot from 75 cents a square foot. And that's, I'm not sure what you're paying now. I don't know what the current financial arrangements are here, but each of the tenants that will be here will have a memorandum of understanding, and they will be responsible for their own utilities.
Okay, but how many more resident tenants are you going to need? And again, my other question about where are they going to go during the renovation period?
Well, we hope that Windy Hill and Spring Grove Recs and Parks, we're going to be able to do a lot of the renovations with them here. There'll be some, we don't anticipate that we're going to have to totally relocate them. Now, we're going to be messing with the roof. We're going to be messing with some of the systems. But if you've been in Windy Hill, until we define what it is exactly they may need, there may be some short-term displacement, but we don't see a long-term displacement where they, or even Recs and Parks that are now running an early learning center here, they're going to have to be displaced for a long period of time.
Well, if you're putting in separate heating systems, they're going to be displaced, and do you know for certain that you're not going to run into asbestos and lead-based paint?
There's been environmental studies that have been done on this building, so that was part of the process from before. We have that information before. We know that there are probably, if you walk the building, some asbestos tile in some of the places. But we also have done a lot of construction projects, and so has the school district. But again, this will be our responsibility in this case, and we'll have to treat those surfaces appropriately, and we have done so in the past. But in terms of heating systems and things like that, we work with the design folks. If there's a period of time when the heat is going to be down, you can certainly take a rooftop unit and change into a more centralized heating and be able to segment that out and not have to have permanent displacement. We did an $8 million project in 2001. We had 120 men, homeless men's shelter in the downtown branch of York, and we replaced the entire heating system, and we had to segment it, so there were some temporary displacements. So I think you're referring to like a permanent displacement for many, many months. Yeah, I think there could be something.
Where do they go for a couple months?
No, I don't see it as a couple of months. I would see it just more short term, yes.
We're open to being displaced for a few weeks. The other alternative is being displaced permanently if this project doesn't go through. Then we have no place to go.
I have a question about parking. Are you going to add more parking spots? I don't know who asked that statement. We don't have any roads.
Yes. That would be part of the plan. Yeah, we have to do some site work and bring that in, but yes, we'd have to take a look at the parking for sure.
Will the seniors have a specific spot so that the young ones that go to the YMCA will have to travel a little bit more to get to
That would be the intention. Yeah, that would be the intention. I'll tell you, I know at our places, and I'm sure, I'm constantly struggling to keep people out of handicap spots that don't belong there, senior spots that don't belong there. But yes, the intention, if you're coming in for a group exercise class, or the only difference would be child care, we would like to make sure. We'll look at that. How do we drop off? I'm sure Kate and her team has a good system going now. We don't want parents with little children walking away, nor do we want seniors or those who have any disability have to walk a long way. So that'll have to be part of the site work process that we haven't got into yet.
The other question I have, are you really worried about the traffic at all? I know that the school having a lot of activities, the traffic is pretty heavy around here, especially around Church Road. Are you considering addressing some of that too?
We haven't thought about that. I think when we get into the design phase, I don't know if the school has thought about that, a traffic study, but that has not come up as something that's going to be needed. We do recognize we have to address the parking and the traffic flow. That may be helpful, but yeah, I know that it's really busy here when school's in and out, when school's coming and leaving, or what do you call it? Opening and closing. Yeah, when school's opening and closing, there's a lot of traffic out there, but we'll have to take a look at that. If a traffic study is needed because of working with the municipality here, we'll certainly do that. I don't sense that that's going to be the case, but if it is, we'll make sure that we adhere to the municipality's request for a traffic study.
And just real quick to add to that, Jackson Township, will work with us. Flo's in the back there. If you want to say anything on parking, Sam and I talk.
She probably would.
But we will definitely work with the township and their recommendations for that. But they're definitely willing to work with us and make it a better system than what we have
now. My question is just in reference to now you've represented the school district and Parks and Rec and Windy Hill, and we know how much you are all on board. My question is, are the boards from Parks and Rec and from Windy Hill and particularly from the school district, are they on board with all of this?
We can all take turns. So our board from Parks and Rec standpoint, yes, you're on board. My board president's in the back if you wanted to say anything on that. But I think, and any of my other board members that are here, I'm getting a thumbs up in the back. So our board has been, in talks with the Y for, oh gosh, it's been a while now, like 2 years. So we've had a plan, we've had a backup plan, so we're prepared for that. But our board is fully on board with this project and moving forward.
I won't speak for the board, but I can tell you that as far back as Tammy mentioned in 2017, we began the conversations with the partners, invited the YMCA to come in, and we fleshed out the process. And each of those boards at those particular points had given us the go-ahead administratively to continue the conversations. As I mentioned, we've had every other year a municipal breakfast meeting where we invite municipal government officials as well as our state and federal officials to be represented and continue to present this as a concept. As it started to grow, if you will, we've had the peer-to-peer study done and continue to present to the board, the school board in particular, these details. The most recent action or activity that's taken place has been the agreement of sale with the YMCA, because that's really the starting point to get this officially going in the absence of any other action taken by the board. And that's what we're in the process of reviewing right now. We've had the document in hand in essentially final form that we're sharing with the YMCA for the board to consider and to ultimately make the decision. We're at a very critical point, as you can hear from all the information that we're sharing, but also the excitement that we're building behind this because of the unique opportunity of the state funding that's been given or committed to us, the partners being ready to act on it, and the community needs for us to help fill. Everything from child care, senior citizen activities, and opportunities for collaboration with the school district and the YMCA to offer those recreational and educational opportunities. So we're confident that we can be successful, but ultimately our school board members will make that final determination. Yes, sir. Oh, Tam, could you, if you could wait, sir, for...
Yeah, I'm going to be brief. As I mentioned, I've been working on this project since 2017.
When Dr. Nault came to me and said, you know, we love having you guys here, we love having Wendy here in your programming, the intergenerational, however, we cannot sustain this building. So I know I can say confidently that my board is 100%. In fact, I feel like we've been driving this project for quite a few years. But yeah, we felt like, you know, because of the collaboration and things that we've been able to do with our mission and our program here, we felt that additional collaboration and continuing to use the space is the best option. The other option, we really don't even have a plan B. I know it's not good to not have a plan B, but at this point we do not. We would have to really start researching the community to figure out what we would do if we don't have this space here on out.
Yeah, Bill Smith from Heidelberg Township. You're talking about expanding the parking out here. However, I thought I heard that the YMCA would only handle inside the building. Now, who's going to pay for that parking lot, and who's going to maintain it, and who is legally responsible for access to the parking lot?
Yeah, so you are correct in terms of the exterior of the building, but the project will pick up the costs of the extra parking if needed and where it's placed. Of course, we'll work with the municipality and the school district on that. The maintenance of the parking lot is part of what George was saying in terms of being in the agreement that we're working on in terms of the maintenance of say the grassy areas and the parking lot in terms of snow removal and grass. The school district is looking at that. We hope that that's how it's going to be handled. So the actual infrastructure or the placement of that, the site work, the installation of new parking is going to be picked up by the project.
Anybody thought about using the land and parking lot to the YMCA instead of maintaining all that on your taxpayer money?
That's not. We haven't had that discussion. I don't know if George wants to.
Could you ask that again, sir? Could you repeat the question?
Would it be possible to donate the new parking lots and land out front to YMCA so they're responsible for it instead of taxpayers?
At the end of the day, either way, it would be incorporated into the camp costs. So as the YMCA operates the building, we may end up contributing into it anyway. So what the arrangement that we have currently on the table is that in order for the school district, in exchange for the school district providing some of those services, we would get a preferred rate on any CAM costs or any rental fee. So it's very much collaborative and at the same time trying to minimize the cost. Either way, at some point somebody's going to have to pay that. What we're proposing to do is that where the district is efficient and effective in being able to do that, if we have our folks, our maintenance folks out there doing that work, it'll be just as easy for us to continue doing it and in consideration for a lower cost to us within the building. So there's ways for us to collaborate, and I'm confident that after the first year or two, as we operate it and really work out some of the details, then we'll be able to say, yeah, this didn't work out as well. Let's reconsider a different arrangement. Yeah. So, but great question, and these are all things that, while we've had in the back of our mind, we may not have fleshed out completely, because really we're at that cross point right now where we need to get the project moving because of some timelines we have to meet and next steps to go, so that we don't lose that window of opportunity, and we'll continue to flesh out the details. And ultimately, the part that has us very excited is that we have great partners, and I hope that the three partners think the same of us, in that we're working together for a common goal. There's no profit, there's no other consideration here other than what's best for the community. We have a tangible asset that the district owns that can repurpose for future use, and there are needs that we can fulfill by repurposing the building. We get other support for funding it, and we believe that ultimately it will benefit Spring Grove and beyond. We'd like to see that expand, the outreach expand outward.
I think the project's looking real good, but just details.
Yep. A lot of details that we still need to flesh out. Absolutely.
Just as a graduate from Maine, graduate actually at Recreation Center. I am a graduate of Spring Grove. I worked with the center for 14 years plus. I obviously have some rocket pride. I would like to see people come to Spring Grove. Right now, I feel people drive through it. They drive to Hanover, they drive to York. Obviously, the Spring Grove district is growing. There's still more developments being built. I want to go back to the alternative. If this is voted no by the boards, we're looking at $8.4 million spent for something, in my opinion, positive for bringing people together. How much are we spending just to flatten the building? Or what are we doing to alternatively not do anything with it?
Thank you. That's a great question. I want to work back a little bit. When, and I do want to take just a quick moment to really, for lack of a better term, congratulate, thank, and acknowledge prior school boards. And we're talking about school boards going back 20 plus years, because they had the vision to put together this campus, make all the necessary changes up to and including the, where are we located? The high schools back that way, and the new the current middle schools that way, to configure our buildings the way they are, leaving us with this opportunity. And I will say, at first I thought, why would we abandon this building? A number of reasons why, but it made sense in the long run that it allowed us to be here. And I'll now get to your answering your question. When the decision was made, it was evident that this building would not be used as a schoolhouse. Our demographic projections show us as initially a slower growth rate and now flat, and over 20 years actually reducing. It has a lot of calculations that include live birth rate. Even with the developments going on, we're not seeing the type of the number of students that would potentially be coming to the school district. So this building is never, I hate to never say never, but won't most likely not be used as a schoolhouse. So really, other than the current use that we have, meaning our technology center and the makeshift maintenance facility that we have, there's really no use for the school district to maintain this building. And so for us, long-term, and Seth, thank you for pointing it out, if there are major renovations that need to be done, we have to very seriously consider, do we spend money, $200,000, $500,000 into this building if it's no longer going to be used for our purposes? Now, we have obligations because we have partners here who are using the building, who are serving our constituents. They're serving our youngest, and they're serving our more seasoned citizens. And so, did I say that correctly? All right, good. I'm there too. So we want to be respectful of that, and we recognize the value of that. So the question is, how do we make the prudent financial decision in order to serve and support our partners? And long story, that's how this whole thing came about. We threw everything into the pot, we stirred it up, we mixed it, sprinkled it with Seth Grove magic. We got Kristen Phillips Hill, and we got a lot of smart people to help put this plan together, and this is where we are in order to provide it. And that's why we're at that crossroads about being able to do this for our community. But we know that it's not going to be a schoolhouse. So to answer another part of your question, we have we had estimates back about 7, 8 years ago, and in today's environment, I can't even hazard a guess. But we were reasonably thinking $500,000, $750,000, or $1 million if we need to demolish the building. And it's not just knocking it down. Because our tech center is still here, we would have to segment it off so that it can stand alone, so that it's more than just bulldozing it. And then we'll spend that money, and we're going to have a hole in the ground. And we have a tangible, if the place was falling apart, that's one thing. But we have a tangible asset. We've had developers walk in here, community members in the York County community, developers that looked at it and said, yeah, you've got an asset here, this can be repurposed, and we feel confident about being able to do that and turn it around into a community use. So rather than put $1 million into flattening it, we can put money into it to renovate it. And then the next thing is we were successful in the RACP application, and we're able to get money that would have otherwise gone to another part of the state to come here into not only York County, but Spring Grove Area School District and its municipalities, and we're thrilled with that opportunity, and that's where we really believe that it can be an asset. Thank you for your question.
Folks, we are coming up on the 7:30 mark. I want to make sure that you all have enough time for the open house portion this evening. Does anybody have one last burning question that you really want to ask before we close?
If the school board would say no, how could we change their mind and say yes, we want to go?
I'm not answering that either. What I will do, here's what I will tell you. Our role as the staff of the school district is to bring together the best possible plan. And the board's role is to challenge us to do just that, to make sure that we have considered all of the options, and it's a case where how can we not say yes? But being respectful of all the boards, all the constituents, because each one of us works for a board of directors. Our job is to make sure that we have teased out all the details and made the best possible plans. What the real challenge is, and I am glad that I'm not sitting on the board, any board, whether it's the school board or one of the volunteer boards, is that they have that awesome responsibility of acting on our recommendations, and our job is to present the best possible case. But what I will tell you is this, that the firepower that we have sitting behind me today is incredible. All of our respective boards have put us through the paces and have allowed us to be as creative as possible in order for us to do that. And we have some very significant meetings coming up, and I'm confident that we'll be able to bring it to an end. Thank you. Thank you for your question.
And folks, as we go through the open house portion, if anybody else does have a question, please do not hesitate to ask one of them as we're closing out there. Anyone would you like to close this program this evening?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, you want to tell people how to walk about?
Yeah, we have the building. The places that we're occupying, we're using right now is open for you to walk through. There's people, will be some members of the boards stationed throughout the building, and they hopefully will be able to answer some questions. If not, we'll all be available. But take the time to go ahead and walk through the building, especially, you know, I know some of you have probably not been in the gym maybe since you were here as a student, so go check it out. And thank you very much for coming.
Again, on behalf of everyone, I too want to thank you. Please, no carving your initials anywhere on the walls. We're watching. So, thank you again.